Yo, what up guys? Welcome back to Pats.
Welcome back.
Yes, and today we're going to be reviewing the Razer Naga Pro.
It's got a lot of buttons, and historically it does. So I mean, it's got like the 12 on the side. So I used to use this mouse like back in 2014, I want to say.
Back in the day.
Way back in the day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like 6 years ago now. You know. So I used to use like one of the original Nagas like back in like 2014, man.
That's great.
And I loved it. It was one of my favorite mice. But the thing was, back then there was really bad quality control issues where like the sensor used to break on me like every 6 months, but I would still come back to it because I loved it so much.
Yes.
And so now they've come out with this. And obviously Razer, within the past, I want to say like within the past year or so, out of the products that we've tried, we've had no quality control issues. So we were very, very excited to see this one.
Yeah, and I just want to say that I really like having buttons on my mouse. You know, all the gaming mice that we've tried only have 2 buttons on the side, and it's just like not enough, you know? I like to have binds on my mouse because like when you're playing, or for me, like the games I play, movement is pretty important, right? So I don't want to like press something else when I'm trying to move. Like just having it on the mouse is a lot more convenient, just in my opinion. But anyways, so yeah, the Naga Pro is going for $150. What's coming inside the box? So you got the mouse, obviously. No, the mouse is not included. No, just kidding. So yeah, so you got the mouse and you have 3 side grips, right? So you got the 2 buttons here. I don't know why you would ever get the Naga for 2 buttons, but
That's wild.
I mean, if you want, there's that.
I mean, if you're looking for an ergo, you might.
I guess, right? And then you got one with 12 freaking buttons, which is insane.
And then you got one with 6 buttons, with you know, just discreet 6 buttons.
Exactly, and it's basically attached to the mouse with these little magnets. There's one magnet here in the front and one magnet in the back. You just attach it like this, and you can also see the gold contacts. And you just boom, you snap it there, and you're good to go. It's super easy to take off as well. You just grab it from the bottom, and it just pops right out. Also, it comes with a cord, basically a braided cable, so you can use this mouse while it's charging.
Yeah, and if you've used the Razer Viper or any of those before, it's the Razer SpeedFlex cable, so it's the same, which is nice because like with the G Pro wireless, they give you a kind of like a crappy cable, like for if you're charging it and playing. With this, if you had to charge it and play it, it would be perfectly fine. Like it wouldn't really be bothersome at all.
So it comes with this little dongle. So you basically attach this micro USB cable to this dongle, and then you attach this receiver to this dongle, right? So that's how the mouse is connected to the computer. Also, another nice thing is, if you want somewhere to store your receiver, you can just put it here into the mouse, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Convenient if you got to travel for LANs or anything like that, or you just got to take your mouse around. I mean, it's nice to have that little asset on there. I really love huge quality of life thing with the dongle here, just leaving this up on your desk and then being able to just sort of pop this out and plug your mouse in whenever you need to charge it. Which, by the way, the battery life is advertised as up to 100 hours on their hyperspeed wireless, which is faster than a wired mouse, or faster than your standard wired mouse, or 150 hours with Bluetooth. And of course, this is with all of the RGB off and everything.
Yes. And now, starting off with the shape. The shape is something that I don't like too much about this mouse. It's kind of like flat, but it's not low profile. You know what I'm saying? It's weird, you know?
Flatter towards the top.
Exactly.
But your wrist gets up there because in the back, it's just like, it's pretty high up.
Yeah.
It's a standard ergo shape, and this is the shape that we all know and love from the original Naga as well. Now, if you're an ergo user, this might be something that you like. Personally, I usually don't like ergos, but I actually, of course, I mean, I have a soft spot for the Naga because I love it. It's actually really comfortable. They have these little grips on the right side where your ring finger can go, and then where your pinky can go, and that one is actually covered in rubber as well, which is nice. So you can sort of feel where it is if you have all the RGB off and you're in the dark in your room, whatever. You'll be able to feel sort of where your hand needs to go.
I mean, palm gripping it, it's okay. It's definitely not one of my favorites. You can kind of fingertip it, but one issue that I ran into is I was trying to use a side plate with the 12 buttons, and I have pretty small hands, and whenever I try to pick up the mouse, I would accidentally press one of the buttons. Right? Lucas has larger hands, so his hands kind of go like a little bit farther than that, or like I guess like his thumb. But mine, when I try to pick it up, I kind of press the button sometimes. So I just stuck with the 6 button side plate. you know, which was a little bit more comfortable for me. And the 6-button side plate has a little bit of rubber here on the bottom as well. The 12-button one doesn't have anything like that.
Yeah, and I mean, it's definitely something to be noted that the 12-button layout, it seems very daunting. You're like, how am I gonna know which one I'm pressing?
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, it's exactly like a calculator layout, essentially, except it has, you know, 10, 11, 12 at the bottom. So that's the only thing you really have to memorize. So I usually just keep my finger either on 5 or I keep it past. That way I don't accidentally hit any of the buttons. But I remember from even when I was using this when I was a little bit younger, I really got used to it, and it was something that I felt like I couldn't go without. When I eventually moved on to mice that had, you know, 2 buttons, 4 buttons, and I really missed having this much buttons. So this was a joy to use again.
So yeah, I've never really experienced a shape like this. Like I said, it's not one of my favorite shapes, but I definitely got used to it. And I would say it's a lot better for palm gripping. Fingertip, it just doesn't feel as good to me personally.
Yeah, you gotta have some Shaquille O'Neal sized hands to fingertip this mouse.
Not only that, it's the arch is pretty high up. So that doesn't really help either.
Yeah, but let's be real. You're not buying an ergo to fingertip it, typically.
Yes, exactly. All right, moving on to the weight. Of course, nowadays everyone wants a very, very light mouse, but the Naga, you're not gonna get anything light.
This ain't it.
So the mouse itself, without any of the side plates on it, is 96 grams, which is just that is pretty damn heavy, right?
I wonder if anyone's gonna try to use it without a side plate.
Why would you do that?
I don't know, but I feel like someone would.
And then the 12-button side plate is 22 grams. The 6-button side plate is 19 grams. And then the 2-button side plate, which I don't know why anyone would use on the Naga, is 17 grams. I guess it's nice that they give you the option though, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if you put everything together, let's just say, obviously the side plate that most people are gonna use is a 12-button side plate, and that is 116 grams. So it's definitely not light.
Yeah, it's a big boy. It's a big chungus.
Yes.
And you can feel it. You can feel it too. Now, honestly, the weight I kind of got used to, but it's big to the point where I was like, I almost felt like when I switched back to my Hot ES, which was my daily driver, I felt like Goku taking off like his weighted clothing.
Or
you know?
Rock Lee, you know what I'm saying?
It was so fast.
Yeah.
It was so unbelievable fast. But it's good for a controlled experience. So if you're looking for more control, I don't know, using this on a fast pad would be a little bit weird. I feel like you might hurt your wrist even if it overshoots a little because it's so heavy.
Oh,
literally,
you know
like the mouse is gonna keep going.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like weight usually isn't a huge issue for me. Like I don't mind like a 80, 90 gram mouse. Like what I like to use is the FK2, and if it's like 40, 50 grams or whatever, it's like it's a little too much, you know. But well, anything over like 100, 110 grams is a little heavy, and obviously I'm not a huge fan of it, but you know, you can definitely get used to it. As far as these skates go, you got 4 skates on each corner of the mouse and 1 surrounding the sensor, and they are PTFE skates. The thickness of the skates, I would say is around average, so it should last you just like an average amount of time.
And they are actually rounded on the bottom too. So we're taking notes from G-Wolves on this. It's nice they've got the rounding on the bottom. So basically that makes it so whatever surface you're on, it provides a more consistent experience. So they're using their optical switches on this guy, which are rated for 70 million clicks, and they feel really good. They're advertising that this is about 3 times as fast as your standard mechanical switch for a mouse. Now, I'm not sure if that comparison is based on like little desk mice, you know, or if it's comparing it to like an Omron switch.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure where that figure comes from exactly, but they do feel fast. They're very, very responsive, so I'll give them that, absolutely. I know a lot of people really, really love these mouse switches, so I'll give that to them.
But the actual mouse 1 and 2 click for me personally, it's that signature Razer switch where it feels a little mushy, like the original Razer Viper. I wish it was a little bit more tactile, but if you've ever tried a Razer mouse, then this is definitely something that's familiar. Also, another thing that I really like about this mouse is that not only do you get 12 buttons on the side maximum, but you also get 2 extra side buttons on the scroll wheel, which I really, really like.
Yeah. It's like what I remember from some of the Logitech mice, where you can do the scroll wheel to the left or to the right, and it actually provides some extra keybinds for it. I actually used to use that for my weapon slots way back when I played Fortnite.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's nice to have on there. It's nice. The more buttons, the better.
Exactly. And the scroll wheel, the steps are very tactile, which feels very, very nice.
And it's using their Focus Plus sensor, which is extremely fast. We don't really have I mean, much to compare it to. I mean, there's the 3360, the 3389 and such, but it feels about comparable to either one of those. I couldn't say if it's faster, slower. It honestly just feels just as responsive.
Yes, and it goes all the way up to 20K DPI, guys.
Yep.
Very, very impressive.
So if you're gaming in 16K resolution, you will be set. You'll
exactly.
be good.
Yeah.
So as we hinted at earlier, you can actually connect this to your computer via 3 different methods. So you've got your wireless dongle or your wireless receiver. You've got your standard Bluetooth, which is just pairing it to like a laptop or even like an iPad, something like that. And then of course you've got your standard wired. So if you're a caveman and you're using the wired connection, you know,
or your battery runs out, I guess.
Yeah, or that, whichever comes first.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got those 3 methods, and it also has the ability to use the charging dock. So with the Viper Ultimate.
Mm-hmm.
Now we haven't seen a way to actually purchase that separately on their website yet. But I'd imagine this will be coming soon.
Moving on to the build quality, as far as the mouse 1 and 2 buttons go, there's really no wobble. I was very surprised.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot, if any, wobble at all. Now, that being said, it does feel just like, it's just too, I don't know, it's too light to press for being such a heavy mouse. And I get that's because of the switches that are in there, but I just wish the clicks were a little bit heavier.
Yeah, like there's a lot of post travel in these clicks.
A lot of post.
Yeah.
But other than that, feels like your pretty standard Razer mouse. It feels really nice. This texture on here, they've got sort of like a rough textured finish. It's like a sort of like a sandblasted finish on there. And it feels really nice. And they've got the rubber sides. It feels like a premium mouse. It feels like if you were to spend $150 on a mouse, this is the quality that you would get.
Also, another thing that I like is that it doesn't really leave any fingerprint marks. All right, so moving on to the RGB, there are 2 spots on the mouse, the actual mouse, where you can get RGB. And then as far as the side plates go, there's only 1 side plate that has the RGB, and that's the 12-button one. And it shines through, so you can see, I guess, I don't know, like if you want to see the numbers, I don't really know why there would be RGB there.
But by the time you check to see which number you're pressing, you're dead.
Exactly,
you're gone.
You know. But the 6-button one doesn't have any RGB, and neither does the 2-button ones. And on the back of the mouse, we have the Razer logo, which does illuminate with a glorious RGB, but your hand covers it up, so there's really no point in that. But you know, I guess that's there. And then there's RGB on the scroll wheel
for hyper fast scrolling.
Exactly. All right, so wrapping things up. So personally for me, it's not my type of mouse. Like it's a little too heavy. The shape is not my ideal shape, but I really love the buttons, and I wish more companies would do this.
I would say that if they made a version of this that was lighter, maybe even a little bit smaller, I get that they're making it a Naga Pro, so they had to, you know, they had to keep it true to the original. But if they made something like this that was lighter and maybe a little bit smaller, I would love it. But for me, I mean, I had the nostalgia of using it, of course. It's just too heavy of a mouse for me to use now.
Yeah.
So, but this isn't necessarily marketed towards me. I like an ambidextrous mouse, and this is an ergo, and it's a little bit heavy for an ergo. But I love the buttons. So I love what they're doing with it. I can't wait to see where they go in the future with this. Hopefully they add more buttons on more of their mice. That'd be nice. Or even just buttons on the other side.
Just imagine the Razer Viper Ultimate with like the side buttons on the scroll wheel and like a couple more buttons. I don't know if it's just me, but
dude,
I really
the scroll
like
wheel
buttons
left and right, man.
Yes, that'd be
If
great.
they just did that on everything, that'd be so perfect.
Yeah, exactly. So is that just what we feel, or do you guys feel the same? Are we just crazy for wanting more buttons on our mouse? I don't know. Tell us what you guys think down in the comment section below. If you guys do want to get this mouse, we'll try to leave a link in the description box. But that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.
See you in the next one.